Evita is a musical by Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber that tells the story of the life of Maria Eva Dorete de Perón and how she went from a little girl with dreams to becoming one of the most powerful figures in Argentine history, mostly due to her relationship with her husband, General and President of Argentina, Juan Domingo Perón, and the personality cult that developed around them during his administration, obviously told through the medium of song. Now, this musical and/or the film adaptation starring Madonna and Antonio Banderas was probably what introduced a lot of people to the story of the Peróns, so I think it is fair to ask, is this product historically accurate? Well, it depends on who you ask and what version of the product. In general, all the adaptations give some notable critiques towards the Peróns. As such, people who admire the Peróns, also known as Peronists, are not particularly too fond of it. High-profile ones claiming the musical is based on a biography titled The Woman with the Whip, a book that mostly relies on anti-Peronist accounts, particularly since both claim that she came to Buenos Aires as the mistress of a tango singer, Agustín Magaldi, a part of her lore that is a little bit questioned. Another thing that changes the accuracy of the musical is how they interpret one of the leads. You see, aside from the Peróns, there's a third lead in the musical who serves as a narrator for the story, and if you happen to be part of the production crew, this character is given the name Che in the script, and that label has divided people into two camps. One camp interpreting Che to represent its more colloquial meaning, i.e. fellow or guy, essentially generic term for male, essentially using him as an XP for the descamisados, i.e. the poor in Argentina that were made fun of by the elite but were accepted by the Peronists, using him to represent the general populace of Argentina who at first were enthusiastic about the Peróns, but as time went on, they sort of distanced themselves and kind of saw them as just more politicians, while others see the script having Che in it, and using tertiary knowledge, remembering that Che Guevara is from Argentina, conclude that Che in this play is supposed to be Che Guevara, and they just decide to lean heavy on this. I guess trying to imply that Che Guevara was somehow inspired by the Peróns, which, if you actually look at the timelines and how and where Che Guevara was during the time periods of this musical, it just doesn't line up. The most glaring example is actually right at the beginning when someone walks into a theater to reveal that Evita has passed away, and Che is right there to begin the story. However, he was not in Argentina at the time of her death. He was at the tail end of his motorcycle journeys. Basically, he could have been in any of these countries, but not in this one. So yeah, if they choose to interpret Che as Che, then it's less accurate than if they interpret Che as Che. Though to be fair, in many of these moments in history, they also didn't spontaneously break out into song and dance, so I think we can forgive a little bit of inaccuracy. The next way you can interpret it to whether it's historically accurate or not is kind of based on how you interpret the Peróns, because this musical does not show the Peróns in that much of a favorable light, basically showing them to be just like every other politician, making a lot of big promises, but never really living up to them. And with that comes a critique of Peronism itself. Though I guess I should say what the heck Peronism is for those who don't know. To sum it up very briefly, Peronism is the ideology of Juan and Eva Perón. Now you might say, yeah, we knew that, but what does that mean? Well, that's where it gets a bit more complicated, because the ideology is really amorphous. So much so that there are people on many different sides of the aisle who look at Perón with favor and hatred. The ideology is very nationalistic and borrows aspects from socialism and fascism. Since its interpretations were wildly different, actual policies that he enacted were rather vague, and it led to him being well liked by, again, a lot of people all across the political spectrum, which seemingly adds to the assumption that the Peróns were mostly self-interested because they espoused a lot of rhetoric that leaned one way, but policy-wise, they never really went there. Much like every other dramatized version of history, it takes actual events from history and uses it as a template, then tells a story on top of that. And usually, they prioritize the latter before the former. Not to say that it isn't accurate, but it embellishes a lot to make it more interesting. An example comes from the song Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. When the writers were going to make this musical, they had expected that Eva gave some big speech after Perón was initially elected, and were going to use that as a template for the song. It wasn't until they started doing research that they realized that Eva never gave such a speech, and her famous speeches that you think of came from after Juan Perón was elected. But the story dictated that this song had to happen, as this was supposed to be an overarching song for the remainder of the play, so they decided to just make one up. Does it detract from the musical? No, because I assume that a majority of people who are watching this would have actually decided to look further into Eva, Juan, and the whole situation regarding Argentinian politics before making up their minds in regards to it, rather than just taking this musical or its film adaptation at heart. Right? Products themselves are pretty good, but I wouldn't use them as a history book. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, you can go to my website, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, or consider supporting me on Patreon.
There has to be something here, something, anything that lets me know we are. Where the hell am I? There isn't even a floor. What the hell am I standing on? I'm outside the video. No, I really need to find out the truth. 𝔖𝔦𝔩𝔥𝔬𝔲𝔢𝔱𝔱. What is your story?
After all of these years, you will finally pay for going back on all your principles. After all that stink that you put into Dem Exit, Green Enter, Moving for People's Party, you're just gonna go and just start backing Democrats again? Did all of that mean nothing to you? Your whole online presence was supposed to be that you were the source for third parties because the mainstream media forgot to do so. And now you have to basically be bullied into talking about third parties. All this for like a measly rise in views? Some measly amount of money that you're gonna have to beg people to give you? How independent are you truly, Mr. DSAer? Man, you really grew into that SJW college kid mentality, did you? Oh wait, you're not even that anymore. You've become a silhouette of your former self for nothing. But the thing about silhouettes is, if the room's bright enough, they disappear. And trust me, the light is coming.
I see it now. Looks like everyone was played in the end.